Anyways, the camera crashed. So this shop has been built with this machine in mind, up to and including the 16-foot high ceiling in here to accommodate the gantry crane that I knew I'd need to get this thing off of here, all the way to buying this aluminum trailer to haul the thing home. So, I mean, everything I've done has been, you know, wrapped around this machine right here. So this thing's been a large part of my life for over a year now. I had to leave the thing sitting up there because I didn't have any way to get it home for over a year, and that was a terrible thing of me to buy it and then let it sit there. But I owned it and I apologized for it, and Doug accepted my apology. So sorry, Doug, one more time. Anyways, just under 6,000 pounds of metal sitting here. It's according to the data sheet, it's 5,700 pounds without the motor on it. So that's where the motor goes, and that's sitting out back there. This thing didn't get a lot of use while it was up at the shop in the dam, apparently. I think that's original paint. Now the ways are all buggered up, but you know, that I can fix. I took the scraping class with Richard King, and by golly, this is a good way to learn on your own machine, so that if you screw it up, you're not screwing up somebody else's property, or you're only screwing up your own. But I have high confidence we can get this thing back into good shape. A few interesting things about this that make me think it's original and hasn't been touched very much is it still has the Corps of Engineers tag on it there, and if you look closely, this is the access door to the guts of it, you know, where all the bowl gear is and all that. And this nut here definitely has never been off of this machine. And when you look at it, at the paint that's peeling off of here, I'd say with near certainty that that's the original paint. And this thing has never, I mean, it got so little use they never even took the door off to service it. Best guess on age, I would say this thing probably was built in the early 70s. It's probably one of the later ones. There was a fella that, when they closed the Steptoe Western factory, Western machine tool factory up in Holland, Michigan, they said that he went through the garbage and saved a bunch of the records, but I haven't been able to get a hold of him. But there's the serial on this thing, just for posterity's sake. And when you look down in here, it's not light enough right now, but I looked down there with a light, and it's there's hardly any chips down there at all. It looks like very, very few, very little use this thing has had. The table, although a little bit rusty, is completely chowder free. It's that was where the vise was sitting, obviously, and there's not a mark on it, not a nick, not a bit of damage on it whatsoever. There's just a few chips in there. I haven't done any cleaning on this thing at all. Just about to get started with it. Rust obviously has got to go, but we can handle that, especially with the surface plate and the scraping techniques that I've got. So this thing's gonna be put back into order very, very slowly and methodically. Hopefully before I die, I'll have this thing done. There's been a few issues I've had with trying to lift this thing up. We tried to lift it the first time, and although it has no problem lifting it up, it tends to lean. So I was lucky it didn't actually collapse and lean over. You know, we didn't go fast with it. It was the back end came up, and then the legs started to tip over, and we set it right back down. So, you know, you just be careful and take your time with things and don't rush, and usually you can learn quick enough to avoid major disasters. Pretty sure that's the point where when I put this thing in to rotate it around when I'm working on scraping in the ways, that's probably the CG of the ram. And there's probably either a center point in the front of the face of this thing or something. But I'm assuming there's going to be another, circular point right at the middle of this that I can attach to, so I can hook it up to the gantry crane, swing it over to the, drive it over to the granite surface plate, blue it, scrape it, to make it a lot easier on me. But those ways obviously need to get done too. This is an option, this rapid traverse motor. That's a 3-phase motor on there, and that's an option. The only option this thing is missing, unfortunately, is the power down feed, which would go right here. And I'm really trying to find, if somebody has one of these things that's getting scrapped out that has that power down feed, please let me know. I'd like to try to find one of those for this machine. And there's also, the only other thing I'm missing is a tilt table that goes on the table down here. So otherwise, it's got all the bells and whistles that were available. Corps of Engineers bought themselves a nice product. If anything mechanically were wrong with this thing, I wouldn't have spent even $1,000 on it. But all of the transmission, when you move the levers and things, everything is, that's absolutely shiny. That's I think the clutch, and all these gears move just like butter. So those hopefully are still, in good shape under there. Unfortunately, since it was sitting outside, it got waterlogged, so I'm kind of dreading what I see down in here. But when you flip up the oil add port down here, that's water sitting in there. So I got to get that out, and hopefully quickly. But this is where I'm starting from, and I've decided to take the head off, the ram off, and also the table off before I do anything else further with this thing, just to take some of the weight off of it. I know it'll lift it, but it'd be smarter to do that. So I'm going to take this thing a bit apart before trying to do the final lift in the position here. It's going to go into the corner. Nobody puts baby in the corner.